If a woman doesn't feel your absence, it's probably because she never had to value your presence. That's the part most guys don't want to hear, but need to. When a woman takes you for granted, it usually means she got too used to having access to you, your time, your energy, your attention, without having to do much in return. And when that happens, you lose your impact. You become background noise, familiar, predictable, easy to ignore. But here's the good news. You can flip that dynamic. You can shift from being overlooked to being missed. It's not about playing games, begging, or trying to convince her you're worth it. It's about resetting the balance by changing how you show up and how you pull back. Most guys make the mistake of overcompensating when they feel a woman pulling away. They double down, become more available, try harder to prove themselves. But that only makes things worse. What actually makes a woman start missing you is when she feels your absence in a way that makes her think, not when you're chasing her down, hoping she notices you again. We're going to break that down in this video. Welcome to Man of Substance, and if you're new here, good to have you. If you've been around, you already know. We keep things real, direct, and simple. No nonsense, just stuff that works. Today we're diving into how to make a woman start missing you, even if she's been taking you for granted. Whether you're trying to get her attention back, reset the dynamic, or just walk away with your pride intact, you'll want to hear this. 1. Stop giving her unlimited access. One of the fastest ways to lose a woman's respect, or even her interest, is by making yourself too available. When she knows she can get your attention at any time, on her terms, with no effort, the value of that attention drops. It stops feeling special. It starts to feel expected. And once it's expected, it's no longer appreciated. This is what happens when a woman starts taking you for granted. She doesn't hate you. She's not even necessarily trying to disrespect you. She's just gotten used to the idea that you're always there, always texting first, always answering, always ready to give her time, energy, and emotion, no matter how she treats you. And eventually, she stops seeing you as a priority, because you've never required her to treat you like one. There was a guy who used to message his girl every morning without fail. Good morning texts, long replies, even when she took hours or days to respond. She started giving short answers, then stopped initiating altogether. Still, he kept showing up, until one day she told him, "I just don't feel that spark anymore." The truth? The spark didn't disappear. It faded because she never had to earn his presence. It was just there all the time. When you remove that constant access, something changes. You stop being background noise. You create space. You allow her to feel the difference between when you're present and when you're not. And that's when the missing starts. This isn't about being cold or manipulative. It's about creating balance. You're not cutting her off. You're simply not giving more than what's being returned. You stop texting just to get a response. You stop jumping at every chance to talk. You stop acting like she's the center of your world when she's not treating you like you matter. It's not personal. It's self-respect. When you give less access, you become less predictable, less routine. That makes you more interesting again. And the moment she realizes that your attention is no longer guaranteed, she starts paying closer attention. She starts wondering what changed. That curiosity is the first spark of her starting to miss you. You don't have to announce anything. You don't need to explain why you're pulling back. Just stop giving what isn't appreciated. Protect your time, protect your energy, and let her feel the absence she created by not valuing what she had. 2. Silence hits harder than words. When things start to slip between you and a woman, when she's not texting back, not showing interest, or just treating you like an afterthought, your instinct might be to speak up, to explain how you feel, to ask her what's wrong, to get some kind of closure or reaction. But here's what you need to understand. Silence is often louder than any speech you could give. A lot of guys think they'll get their respect back by saying the right thing, or by convincing her to care again. But when you start talking too much, explaining too much, or asking for answers, it actually works against you. You're giving more attention to someone who's already tuning you out. And that makes you look like you're trying to earn back something you should have never had to fight for in the first place. Silence shifts the energy. When you stop texting, when you stop showing up in her notifications, when you stop chasing moments that aren't being returned, that silence becomes noticeable. She may not react right away, but she'll feel it. Because now there's a void, there's a break in the pattern, and people notice breaks in patterns. Silence also protects your pride. It keeps you from begging, from over-explaining, from looking like you're trying to win back someone who didn't value you. It shows that you've stepped back, not because you're angry, but because you're done making noise where it's not appreciated. It also gives her the space to process. When a woman feels like you're always there, always reaching out, always keeping the line open, she doesn't have to think about you. But when you go quiet, really quiet, she might start wondering. She might start checking. She might not show it immediately, but if there's any interest still left, your silence brings it out a lot faster than your words will. This doesn't mean you're playing games. It means you're choosing not to over-explain your value. If she couldn't see it when you were consistent and available, repeating it won't help. Let the quiet speak for you. Men who understand the power of silence know when to stop chasing and start observing. If she's into you, she'll notice your absence. If she's not, then your silence saves you from wasting more time and energy. Silence is clarity. It draws the line. And in many cases, it's the thing that finally wakes her up. 3. Detach emotionally, not just physically. It's easy to stop texting. It's easy to stop showing up. But if you're still constantly thinking about her, checking her social media, wondering what she's doing, or hoping she reaches out, you haven't really pulled back. You've just gone silent on the outside while still holding on inside. That kind of emotional attachment is what keeps you stuck. Detachment isn't about pretending you don't care. It's about regaining control over your thoughts and emotions. It's the difference between doing nothing and still obsessing over her, versus genuinely shifting your focus back to yourself. That's where your power comes from. If you want her to feel your absence, you have to truly create it. Not just in conversation, but in energy. Women can pick up on it. When a guy says he's done, but still finds little ways to stay connected, liking posts, replying to stories, keeping tabs in the background, she knows he hasn't really moved on. That doesn't make her miss him. It makes her feel like she still has control. Real detachment creates a vacuum. It breaks the connection completely for a while. That break is what lets her feel the shift. That's what creates space for her to reflect, to wonder, and eventually to miss you, if there's anything still there to miss. The tricky part is this. Emotional detachment takes discipline. It takes honesty. You've got to admit to yourself when you're still holding on. You've got to stop feeding the habit of checking on her or reliving moments in your head. You need to get your energy back into your own life, into your goals, your growth, your peace. Not because it's a trick to get her back, but because it's the only way to actually reset your value in her eyes and in your own. The longer you stay emotionally tied to someone who isn't valuing you, the more you lose yourself. And when you lose yourself, you lose the ability to lead, to attract, and to command respect. Detachment isn't cold, it's powerful. It allows you to rebuild your mindset and step back into your worth. Whether she notices or not, whether she comes back or not, doesn't matter as much as you taking back control of where your mind goes. When you detach fully, you stop chasing closure. You stop hoping for that message. You stop needing her attention to feel better. And that's when you actually start moving forward. And oddly enough, that's also when she's most likely to notice you've really gone. 4th, let her feel the shift in power. When a woman starts to take you for granted, it usually means the power in the dynamic has tilted too far in her direction. She knows you'll show up. She knows you'll wait. She knows you'll keep giving, no matter what she does. And the more predictable that becomes, the less effort she feels she needs to give in return. To make her start missing you, you've got to reset that balance. And the way to do that is by shifting the energy back toward you. Power in any relationship doesn't come from controlling the other person. It comes from controlling yourself. When you no longer respond to crumbs of attention, when you stop rewarding half effort, when you no longer act like she's the prize you're chasing, that shift is felt. She notices. The dynamic starts to change. That doesn't mean being cold or rude. It just means that your time, your attention, and your energy now come with standards. If she wants access to you again, it won't be automatic. It'll have to be earned, just like you tried to earn hers. A lot of guys think stepping back will make her forget about them. But the truth is, when you take your energy away, the absence is louder than the words you could have said. If she was used to having all the attention and now it's gone, it creates space for reflection. She'll start asking questions in her own mind. Why isn't he chasing? Why doesn't he care anymore? Did I lose him? That mental shift is powerful. It flips the script. The key here is consistency. You can't pull back one day and then reach out the next because you feel emotional. If you want her to feel that shift in power, you need to stand on it. Stick to your new standard. Let her sit with the distance. Let her feel what it's like when she's not the center of your world. This isn't about ego. It's about balance. She doesn't need to feel like you don't care at all. She just needs to feel that you care more about yourself than about proving something to her. That's what resets the tone of the connection. And if she doesn't respond to the shift, that tells you everything you need to know. You've regained control, and now you decide whether it's worth reconnecting. Once she feels that your energy is no longer guaranteed, that's when the missing starts. That's when she realizes the power has changed hands. 5. Don't try to prove your worth. One of the biggest mistakes men make when they feel taken for granted is trying to prove they're worth loving, missing, or holding on to. They start doing more, sending longer messages, being extra thoughtful, chasing harder, hoping she'll finally see what she's losing. But that energy doesn't create attraction. It creates pressure. And when someone already feels like they've got the upper hand, trying to prove yourself only pushes them further away. There was a guy who got ghosted by a woman he was seeing. Out of nowhere, she stopped replying. Instead of giving her space, he doubled down. He sent a long message explaining how much he cared, how great they were together, and how she should reconsider. He poured it all out. Her response? Nothing. The reason she didn't respond wasn't because he didn't care enough. It's because he cared too much, too visibly, when she had already started checking out. That energy never pulls someone back in. If anything, it confirms they were right to step away. You don't need to prove anything. If you were showing up with genuine effort, honesty, and consistency, then you've already made your value clear. If she couldn't recognize it, then trying harder won't fix it. It'll just make you look like you don't believe in your own worth unless she validates it. When you stop trying to prove yourself, you start to regain your power. You stop chasing and start observing. You stop needing her to see it, and you start acting like the kind of man who only offers his energy where it's returned. Let your silence prove your point. Let your absence speak louder than your words. Let her notice the difference between your presence and the empty space left behind. If she doesn't notice or doesn't care, then your answer is already clear. But if she does feel that shift, it'll hit her harder than anything you could have said. When a woman feels like a man no longer needs to be noticed, that's when she starts paying attention again. Not because he begged, but because he walked away without needing a reaction. This doesn't mean you're being bitter. It just means you know who you are. And if someone can't see your value, you're not going to keep putting it on display like a salesman hoping to make the sale. Value doesn't have to chase. It just has to stand still long enough to let the other person realize what they lost. 6. Show growth without explaining it. When you've been taken for granted, it's tempting to want to prove you've changed. Maybe you start hitting the gym, leveling up your mindset, or focusing on your goals, and then you want her to see it. You might feel like if she just knew how much you've improved, she'd come back. But here's what you need to understand. Growth that's real doesn't need to be explained. It needs to be seen. On her time, not yours. The more you talk about how much better you've become, the more it feels like you're trying to sell her on it. That comes off as performative, even if your intentions are good. True growth is quiet. It doesn't chase validation. It just shows up differently, and people notice. This is especially important if you want her to miss you. When she sees that you've leveled up and you're not throwing it in her face, it makes her wonder. She starts to compare who you were to who you are now. She starts asking herself, why isn't he showing off? Why does he seem different, but doesn't need me to acknowledge it? That's the effect of silent confidence. You let your actions speak without the need for recognition. And that confidence is what draws people back. Not desperation for approval, not long messages explaining how far you've come. If you're truly growing, don't make it about her. Make it about you. Get sharper, get stronger, move smarter. Whether she sees it or not shouldn't change your momentum. Because the right kind of growth is never temporary. It becomes your new standard, with or without her attention. This is where a lot of men fall off. They only start improving when they're trying to get someone back. And when that doesn't happen quickly, they lose motivation and go right back to old habits. That's not real growth. That's just emotional reaction. Real growth sticks because it's about becoming someone you respect. It's about operating at a level that doesn't require anyone else to notice. And ironically, that's exactly when people start noticing. When she sees you've changed, but not for her, not for attention, not for validation, it lands differently. It hits in a way that's quiet but powerful. That's what makes her think. That's what can trigger that feeling of loss. So don't announce it. Don't post about it to get a reaction. Don't make it part of some comeback. Just live it. Let her see it when she least expects it, and let her feel the difference without you ever having to say a word. 7. Let her come to you or let her go. One of the hardest things for a lot of men to do is to simply step back. Not because they don't want to, but because they're afraid. Afraid that if they stop reaching out, she'll forget about them. Afraid that if they don't chase, it's over for good. But here's the truth. If she doesn't come back on her own, she was never really yours to begin with. This is where some real honesty needs to happen. If you've been the one always trying, always checking in, always hoping she comes around, what has that gotten you? More connection or more silence? More love or more confusion? Chasing a woman who's not giving you anything in return is a one-way road to frustration and low self-worth. And if you've already pulled back, gone silent, and shown growth, then your job is done. It's on her now. She either notices and steps forward, or she doesn't. And if she doesn't, it's your responsibility to let go. Not emotionally hang around, not keep one eye on her page, not wait for a sign. Let go fully. This is where a lot of guys mess up. They make progress, but they keep waiting in the background. That's not strength. That's indecision. If you're serious about getting your value back, you've got to walk like someone who means it. Not fake it, not pause and glance back every 5 steps. Mean it. And yeah, maybe she won't come back. Maybe she'll never realize what she lost. That's part of the deal. But the flip side, if she does feel the shift and reaches out, it means something real. It means she felt your absence. It means your silence, your growth, your detachment actually made an impact. But that can't happen if you're still clinging to the idea of what could happen. Here's the wake-up call. If you're always ready to respond, always on standby, you haven't let go. You've just paused the chase. That's not power. That's waiting. Let her come to you on her own, with real energy, not guilt or confusion. And if she doesn't, don't make excuses for it. Accept it. Then focus on becoming the kind of man who never has to beg to be valued again. If you've done the work, the only move left is to let her decide. And if she doesn't show up, you walk forward, with or without her. At some point, every man has to decide if he wants to keep chasing someone who's not choosing him, or start choosing himself. That shift isn't easy. It takes discipline, self-awareness, and the willingness to stop doing what's familiar, even when it's uncomfortable. But the truth is, if a woman doesn't feel your absence, it's because your presence was too easy to get, and that has to change. Everything we covered here isn't about playing games or trying to manipulate her emotions. It's about regaining your value, not just in her eyes, but in your own. When you stop giving your energy away freely, when you show growth without needing applause, when you detach and let her come to you or let her go, you show that you're not afraid to walk with self-respect. And whether she misses you or not, you've already won by choosing that path. Now I want to hear from you. Have you been through this? Have you ever felt taken for granted? And how did you handle it? What part of this hit you the hardest? Drop your experience in the comments. I read what you guys post, and I'll be jumping in down there. This isn't just about content. It's a space for men to actually grow together. You've got more power than you think. Use it wisely, and don't waste it on someone who needs to lose you just to notice you.